Hey, how's it going? So I'm very excited. I had planned to talk today about goal setting and how important it is, and it is super important. But I am inspired to talk about another subject, which for me is the most important one ever. It's basically it's what life is about for me. And today I feel inspired to speak about it. I had planned to speak about it in the next two videos, but let's follow my intuition, my inspiration, and let's speak about it today. What is it? True self, the concept of true self. So basically, our self without ego, without fear, what we really are inside, what we are really capable of. So that is the concept of true self. That's what I call true self. There are many words for that. It's actually very hard to grasp that concept and to put a word that is really accurate. Which also can be flow state. When you are in a flow state, you have no fears, no mind. Everything is just fluid. Like all the ideas, like if you had downloads all the time. Like if you are just in the present and everything is easy and you have this energy and you have that peaceful strength, so that's a flow, and for me it's linked. The two are linked because when we are in flow, we are in our true self. So it's kind of, and some people they put some scientific reasoning on that. They say that it's a part of the brain that switches off, and when that part of the brain that is like looking for the negative or that's protecting us switches off, we are able to access this power, this flow, this true self. I don't know. There are so many theories, so many interesting things. But so today the question is, the true self exists, okay? Because I've experienced it. I know many people have experienced it because you have so many people talking about it. And the same with the flow concepts. You have so many people talking about the flow concept, studying it. And many times, we have, like, for example, superstars, and you have so many athletes and so many people saying that they were in flow. Some person, like for example a musician that has an amazing night or breakthrough, like many times actually breakthroughs come from being in flow. So it exists. It's a real concept. I call it true self, so I'm going to focus on true self. True self is a state of living where everything is easy. When you are, for me, I call it true self because I think that's who we really are, and I think it's always here. And if it's always here, it means it's always accessible. So I think it's a good belief to have, that you are that power. That's the real you. It's not the scared you that is having all those fears and so on, of this self-doubt, that I am not enough, and so on and so on and so on. All this for me is the conditioned self in opposition to the true self. And the problem is that we all live in our conditioned self most of the time. And for most people, that's the only thing we know is our conditioned self. We live always in fear. Okay, what they are thinking about us? Am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the right thing? You're scared to say your truth, and so on and so on. And so, yeah. But that true self exists. Okay, that true self exists, and the objective is to live in that true self, in that flow, and that's where all is possible. So the question is, it exists, we know it exists, but we live in our conditioned self. How do I get to my true self? How do I stop living in my conditioned self? How do I go to my true self? And how can I live there more and more? Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to try to answer that question in life. Okay, I've put myself in flow. I prepared myself for this. I've meditated this morning. I've done some high intensive sports. I've drank coffee. I've listened to music. I've expressed love. I spoke my truth. I've been focused on others and on helping and on serving, and all this, and also I think I've been listening, and I've been trying to help people. And I think all the combination of all those factors are paths to live in the true self. So I already gave an answer. And right now, I feel myself in flow. I know there is a much more powerful flow, a much more powerful true self yet, but right now I feel like a genius. And don't think it's not ego, it's not, I'm not being egocentric here. It's really like I feel everything easy right now. I feel I could call anyone, I could be in a meeting with a president and I won't be shy. That's how I feel, okay? And I feel self-confident, but I feel calm at the same way. And also I feel everyone is beautiful and I feel much love for everyone. I feel I can be compassionate, I can be I have forgiveness, I can have gratitude, and I have gratitude, you know, for my life and for everything. So I am in that state right now. And I wanted to put myself in that state to speak to you, because you know I don't want to speak with my mind, and I just don't want to repeat things that I've read and that I saw videos. What reason? If I don't produce anything new, if it doesn't come from the heart, if it's not something that is really important for me and something that I really feel can help and something new, why share it, right? So that's why for me it was important to put myself in that state to speak to you. So okay, so we started to speak about different factors, different ways to arrive in that true self. So how do I get there? How do I live there on a more common basis? Is it necessary to really do all this? Like to have all this routine, all those things to do, you know, to be able to live there? I'm convinced that it's not the case. So I think there are commonalities, I think there are factors, there are pathways that we can work and practice, and I think I mentioned the most important ones, but I believe and I'm convinced that there are other ways that maybe are more natural and more easy to be able to live in the true self. The first one that I think is so powerful is to live in service, always, in the sense of dedicate your life for the greater good. And the greater good can be different things, and that's a whole other topic. What is the greater good? Is it because, you know, like, I don't know, you have a certain ideology, and for you the greater good will be that ideology, you know, and that can be slippery. So is it really a greater good, or is it just a greater good under your perspective? So, but I think, and I'm convinced that when you live a mission that is not about you, it's not about you being famous or you accomplishing things and you being liked and you doing the thing you think is right in the eyes of others, but when you live your truth, the real truth, when you follow your heart, you know, you follow your intuition, and when you are living for others, when you are living a mission, I think in that state your ego dies, your conditioned self dies, your fears die, because it's greater than yourself being your ego self. And when it's greater than yourself, and then I don't know the mechanism, I don't know what is it. Is it God? Is it a higher energy? I don't know what it is. But what I know is that the universe helps you. The energy, there's some kind of new energy that helps you. Something happens when you are living that kind of mission of service, and somehow you live in your true self, and then you don't need to listen to music, you don't need to meditate, you don't need to do anything. You're just in that true self state, in a beautiful place, you know, and yeah. And I know that's real, again, and again, there are so many testimonials. It's not just about me. So many saints, and actually, I guess I don't really like religions, and I'm very sorry if people are very religious, and it's part of their identity. And I'm not criticizing here. I just think that religions in the past have made a lot of bad things and a lot of bad decisions, and many people were killed, and a lot of suffering came from religions. I know there are many good things that came from religions as well. And I think the message in itself is beautiful, right? And I think that's what I want to say, is that the message is guiding to that true self, actually, and is showing what is possible. But the problem about religion is that it became a dogma, and it became, I'm right, you have to live like that, and if you're not, you are a sinner. And so there's a kind of there's a good side and a bad side in my view about religion. But all the religions and all the sense of all the religions, they kind of show the same thing in their own way, but they kind of show the same thing, the same as spirituality. like New Age spiritualism, or kind of also show this kind of thing, yeah, and so on and so on. So because so many speak about it and so many have experienced it, we know it's true, and we say how to live there. So I told you many factors. I tell you it can be also much easier, and that having a higher mission, and then but then you're scared, and your ego you will impede you to go on that higher mission. Yeah, but I need to pay my bills. I have kids,